The one thing that Indiana does know is next season is they have to replace Trayce Jackson-Davis regardless because he could or could not be coming back for this upcoming season. But the following year, I meant, is they know that they would have to replace him. So they have to get that piece, but it doesn't seem to be as concerning for them right now as a lot of the other pieces that they're putting in. Really working on those wings and guards seems to be priority right now, Kyler.
Yeah, I agree. As far as, not this upcoming year, but the year afterwards, you'll obviously still have Malik renew. So, he'll have another year of development. And then right now, they're kind of making the priority towards Arlington Page with the 2023 class. So he could come in and be another dominant post presence for them. He can stretch the floor, not as well as Booker, I would say, but he's a lot more physical inside. And he's starting to get a lot smarter on the floor from what I've seen as well. So that's an option right there. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do to replace Trayce and Race. Not this coming year, but next year as well.
And Dylan, it looks also though Mike Woodson's style of play may be altering the roster. The big man per se. We hear positionless basketball, which you're still going to have your guards and your wings, but the center is a piece that kind of is you could turn it into a 4-5 kind of a thing where he's more of a stretch four. And which is exactly what someone like Xavier Booker is. He's a guy who should be a center in most normal cases, but he's playing a 4. He's not playing that 5 role. So it's a case where with what they are recruiting with all these wings, these 6'8" guys, these 6'7", 6'8" guys that are kind of interchangeable. I mean, you look back at Indiana's last national championship, which was 1,000 years ago, I understand, but wasn't Daryl Thomas the tallest guy on the floor for Indiana at 6? Oh, no, you had daggone it. He's on with us all the time. They're big guy. Keith Smart and the other addition that they added to that team, for the JUCO team. Why am I drawing a blank? He's on with us all the time. Good friend of the show. Dean Garrett.
Yeah.
They did have Dean Garrett, so I take that back. So they had that piece too. But think about the teams of the '90s when they had just all these great pieces, but they had a team full of guys that could shoot the ball. Yeah. There was not a guy on the floor hardly that couldn't shoot the ball most of the time, save maybe Chris Reynolds. But you had Greg Graham, Pat Graham, Todd Leary, Eric Anderson, Jamal Meeks. I could go on. Damon Bailey. All those guys. Calbert Cheney. All those guys. Every freaking one of them could shoot the ball. So they didn't need a 6'10", 7-foot guy. And it created havoc. And I'm wondering if that's kind of the style where Woody may be going back to.
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it, especially with the pick and roll that Woodson likes to play. He would rather not have guys planted in the post and getting post feeds. He wants his big man up at the top of the key running pick and roll with Xavier Johnson or with Jalen Hood-Schifino. And I think it's kind of interesting because for so long, Indiana has been a big man team. They had Juwan Morgan and Duran Davis. Then they had Trayce. Then they had Race. Then they had Joey Brunk. And so it's going to be almost some whiplash for fans if you're watching IU for them to go so quickly from a team that has these dominant big men for so long to a team that might not have a dominant big man and is just going to play 5 out. If once Trayce and Race leave, you're going to be left with, assuming they don't get Booker, you're going to be left with, as we talked about, Renew and Caleb Banks, who are both, as you said, 6'8", guys who are athletic, guys who can come to the top of the key and run a pick and roll and can rebound, but are not going to plant themselves in the post. I think that the style of play is just going to be so different than what we've seen. We're already starting to see that a little bit. We started to see it at the end of last season. And it's going to be interesting to see how that develops here over the next year or two.
So this weekend, we talked about who you expect to see up at mainly at the Adidas Make Classic. What are you expecting to see? What about are there any out of towners that you're looking forward to seeing there, Kyler?
I mean, he technically falls in the out of towners, but he plays for Indiana Elite. Is that Travis Perry from Kentucky? I'm really interested to talk to him a little bit more and see where that relationship is. You know, does he expect an offer from Indiana, and things like that? He really is the main guy that I'm kind of focusing in on this week. He is a 2024 guard.
Is that the kid from Eddyville?
Yes. Yep.
So down in Western Kentucky, and I made note to, I forget who I was talking with on the show, but I think that this staff has offered more kids from Kentucky than in my lifetime combined that I can recall from Indiana total. I don't recall hardly ever there being a kid that was offered. There's never been 3 offered within a calendar year like there has been here of late, with Reed Shepherd last year and the one we're talking about, and then there was one other. Oh, the kid from Louisville.
Yeah.
So it just shows this staff is not limiting. They will go anywhere. They'll go to Mars. We'll go to Finland. They'll go to Finland if they have to. And I know people want to see these Indiana kids like Purdue has. We just talked about another, Dre Lawhorn, another commitment to Purdue, Indiana kid. But and Purdue has that style. But I think Purdue's about to get left behind if they stay that way, because the Big Ten itself has to change its style to be successful on the bigger stage, because they have not been. They've been embarrassed in the tournament the last 2 years, and they haven't come close to. Well, they haven't won one in since 2000 or whenever it was, 2001.
Yeah.
So I think that the style has to change, and I think that Indiana's probably getting closer to that style than, say, Purdue, which it's great. Conference play is one thing, but if you notice, once you get out to the tournament, that style of play doesn't work. So I think Indiana is going to change towards what they look to the future for the big prize, and let the conference take care of itself.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. I do see Purdue, just the way that they work and operate, I do see them being left behind eventually. The thing with Woodson is he's going to recruit the best players in the nation. He's going to recruit the players that will fit his system, not necessarily stay in the state of Indiana, which, the state of Indiana does have some great players coming up. Jalen Harrelson, Trent Sisley. So those are guys you have to recruit. But, Woodson has shown, like, he's going out to Ohio. He's going out to Kentucky. Georgia is another big one that he's recruiting. He's going to find guys that fit his system. He's not going to necessarily stay in the state, which he doesn't need to.
No, and you'll always there will always be a guy or two, because this state produces so much talent, like Trent Sisley and Jalen Harrelson right there. Those are two guys. Not only do you don't have to, you need to. Those guys that's talent right there. That's Trent Sisley may end up being a generational talent. I really believe that. We'll see. I don't want to put that pressure on him. It's not fair, but this dude is. I swear. I mean, I'm like, wow, are you kidding me? Just finished his freshman year, and Harrelson's the same in a different manner. But I think that the ceiling's higher for Sisley because of the position he plays. But yeah, he's a guy that, man, both of those guys, I could see them as being. You want both of them in the same backcourt if you could get it.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.